Amplify Our Voices is a docuseries highlighting a collective group of entrepreneurial journeys of Black-owned businesses. In these colorful and raw dialogues, each business uniquely details their individual challenges, lessons, and triumphs of navigating their respective ventures. Anecessarie Film seized an opportunity to execute authentically within our own niche by amplifying the voices of our own. Our goal in this series is to promote our peers in the most genuine and intentional manner. Amplify strives to not solely just support Black and brown businesses, but to share their stories in our own way. In 2021, 17% of Black women were in the process of starting or running new businesses. This is in comparison to just 10% of white women and 15% of white men. Fayetteville Road Agency, founded by Jessica Couch and Brittany Hicks, is a clear testament to Black women seeing opportunity and creating an essential lane for themselves and others.
Our agency was actually built out of a need to get more women of color together in general. So our origin story is kind of interesting. During that time, I think Britt and I were in two different places in our career. I was looking for a partner. I was hoping God sent me a sugar daddy, but instead he sent Britt. And I was doing what a lot of entrepreneurs do when they take 15-minute meetings and they ask people like, hey, can I get a brief chat with you? So I reached out to her on LinkedIn. That's how we met, like a weird, I guess, partnership dating app. Yeah. But I chatted with her and we decided like, hey, we have mutual interests, which is we want to see more women of color in the fashion tech field, but you know, we didn't see it at the time. So I ended up, I think we reached out, she sent me her number and we noticed that we both had 919 numbers, which is North Carolina. So instantly we're kind of like, where are you from? I was like, where are you from? And we ended up living 15 minutes apart. I'm from Durham, she's from Raleigh. Mm-hmm. And so instantly there was a connection. Obviously, I think before we knew we were going to be partners, we had really good synergy with like just following up in our cadence, our backgrounds. And then when we started chatting, we realized like, oh, like we have very similar paths in lives, so let's see if we can make something happen.
Great synergy, really good energy, a lot of overlap in our networks, but we hadn't connected yet, which was shocking, I think. At the time, I was living in Seattle, so I was very much interested in connecting with and meeting anybody Black. And so when we connected on LinkedIn, it was really important to me. I was coming out to New York maybe a couple weeks later, and we linked up for that initial meeting. I think before that we might have had a phone call, but that was kind of the birth of our brunch event where we were like, let's get some women together, let's host this event and create that opportunity to build and connect and have community. And it really wasn't about networking per se or even building a business at the time. I think we were just like, let's meet other women who are good-natured and want to really just pour into other people and talk about their experiences and their stories.
That element, there's no sales needed. You're gonna come shop with me. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna provide what you need.
All businesses have a problem that they're solving. People made doors, they need doorknobs.
Do you help Asian women too? They do believe that I'm receiving money from the illegal industry, so they believe that I have drug money.
You know, my kids are not going to be fed this story that we were all told, and it's just going to be a whole different mentality.
How to make the money and not make the money make you. Players Club, in case you know that reference.
So this year we helped matriculate 6 brands into a luxury department store. They rolled out in about 200 doors across the country, and so that was a really big win for us. But as Jess mentioned before, that takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of access to resources. It takes coaching. And I think ultimately, as a brand owner and a brand founder, your expertise may be found in skincare or hair care, but you may not know what it is to run a business or to develop a supply chain or to integrate your tech with a major retailer. You may not understand third-party logistics for shipping. So when you take on the task of starting a business, you come with your expertise and your experience, but you have to become a jack of all trades. And so I think ultimately for us, it's about kind of demystifying and helping entrepreneurs see what's around that corner, and then pressing our clients and our partners on the retail side to say, well, what access and what resources do you have in place to support them on this journey? Because as Jess mentioned before, it's not just about the funding.
And to be honest, a little secret is all these brands that are putting up these pledges and saying like, oh, you know, we want to support Black Lives Matter and we want to see more Black brands and all this stuff. They don't really have ways to do that. So they rely on people like us who can come in and say, listen, here's what's available, here's your gaps, and here's how we're going to bridge those gaps and get people actually not just recruited to your stores, but retained there successfully on these shelves permanently, even after people stop caring about George Floyd, even after people stop worrying about Black Lives Matter.
There's a theory out there that talks about like the nucleus of power and access within the VC world. And we all know that that starts with white men, and then the rings and bands of control go out from there. So then it's other men, and then it's other ethnicities, and then Black women are like way out here, right? Far away from that center of gravity. And so I think you have to look for opportunities to connect and gain access where you can. And Black women are doing some amazing things in corporate. So don't discount that, leverage that to your advantage to really bring around the opportunities and resources and create these experiences that you need to move forward with your business.
Well, first of all, Britt is a graduate of the illustrious A&T, and so much of our ecosystem that has been developed and the support that we've had has come from the HBCU system. And I think it's been super awesome to have people who look like us, who get the same experience to support us. Her network is unmatched, in my opinion. Like, I know people always like, oh, you know, go Ivy or whatever. Ivy hasn't gotten us into the doors that A&T has gotten us into just by having people there. And so we try to nurture those relationships and honor them, and we don't forget where we come from. Like, we don't shun people who look like us. We don't try to mean girl you when it's like, well, I struggled to get here, so you gotta struggle too. We just have a really different mindset about like, if it's an opportunity and you good people, we can put you on, like, let's do for each other.
Our business is an ecosystem. So it starts with events. From those events, we develop research. From that research, we can create content. From that content, we build bigger and better events. And, you know, it's kind of a system. Our community really feeds that experience, whether it's for our brands, partners, retailers, but we can't stop listening to them. We can't abandon the things that they tell us. We can't shun or refute their experience. If we do that, then, you know, we would be just like the retailers and the different partners that we're trying to support and serve. And so I think listening to people's feedback and really taking that to heart, and being solution focused and solution driven, and not trying to like tell people what their experience is. I think that's where a lot of people and teens go wrong. And then, as Jess mentioned, just always trying to nurture relationships, always looking for opportunities to partner. You never know what can come out of a new working relationship, or just leaning on your friends to support you, tapping into that network of resources. We're fortunate that we have a wide and vast network of women who are killing it in their field, whether it's from an HR perspective or events or social media, marketing, finance, like all of these different expertise of people that we've either connected with through school or, you know, just our personal relationships. And I think we don't try to shy away from that. So when you look at how the United States is changing and just the shift in commerce, 40% of US households are single income, they're led by women. 70 to 80% of household consumption is influenced by women. So when you think about how dollars are transitioning and transacting in commerce, if you can understand how women shop, if you can understand the solutions she's trying to solve for herself, her spouse, her children, the products she's bringing into her household, and why she's making those decisions about how she's shopping, you can understand the world. And it's really that simple. But what we found is that because retail doesn't have R&D in the same way as tech, they're not asking those same questions. They're not thinking about solving problems for their customers in an iterative way. And so for us to come in and say, this is how you should be communicating with her, this is how you should be talking to her, these are the keywords and phrases she's looking for to know that you're the right match for her, that is a game changer for some of our clients and our brand partners. One of our, I think, most important case studies was our What's in Your Beauty Bag survey, where we were able to collect influencer style videos from over 1,000 women and have a conversation with them, have a dialogue with them about what's actually in their beauty bag. And from that effort, we were able to garner over 3,000 keywords to hand over to our retail partner to say, this is what she's thinking about, this is how she's communicating, and now you can take that same language and weave it into your marketing so that she knows that when you're talking about this concealer or this foundation or these color cosmetics, hey girl, this is for you, so that you're not speaking Greek while your customer is trying to speak Spanish.
I got some gifts today. Women of Color Worldwide Beauty Box.
Look at this. Look at how gorgeous the inside is.
When women support women, incredible things happen.
What's in your beauty bag?
This is what we want to know. We want to find out. Okay, so this is really awesome. Look at this.
Ooh, don't despair. Repair.
Give me cheek.
Ooh, Dominican forbidden hair mat.
And still more goodies, guys. Really? With the avocado and the kiwi?
If you haven't tried Office Politics, you need to pick one.
Per my last email. Ugh, everything's just so amazing.
It's literally like Christmas. Support the movement, check out WOC Worldwide, and buy black, okay? Peace.
We have very different skills, as Britt said, in our professional background. I think as an entrepreneur, the number one thing you need to learn is the corporate side of your skill set, because when you have to eat what you kill, you become a different type animal. But it may not be the best animal when it comes to working on a team or, you know, having to take another person's viewpoint. And so I've always been blessed to have Britt, who comes from a corporate world, where there are times that I'm like, you can handle this email. I don't have anything to say. You can handle this person. I'm not going to say anything until I learn a better way of saying it.
The rigor and the tenacity that Jessica puts into our business is just a different level and a different way of working. And so I think being open to all of those experiences coming together and creating something different and not deciding that it needs to look like this or that, but we just need to work together cohesively and effectively as a team to ultimately get to our goal. And so we don't let anything get in the way of us getting to our goal. And I think having that unified vision and a certain level of respect in everything that we do is what has allowed us to be successful. Not without conflict or, you know, strife at times, but I think ultimately for each of those levels and disagreements that we go through, we get better because of it, because we maintain the integrity of our relationship in that respect. But with legalization, we've seen that the trends in cannabis will follow beauty very closely, and that women of color will be the leading consumers for legalized cannabis.
So as Black organizers and advocates, we really came together, particularly as queer people that have been fighting for this for a long time. And on the Capitol grounds, we said, what are we going to do?
What we need is not just investment, but also, you know, we see incubators and startups, things that are geared towards web-based applications and, you know, apps and things like that. But what is there for product manufacturing in America? And that's what I would like to see happen.
I was first consuming and didn't know much about cannabis when I would, you know, hit a vape pen or something. That made me too anxious, maybe a little bit too paranoid. So knowing what works for you, a lot of good ways to start is like a tincture, right?
I think it's just the culture of, I guess, consuming cannabis for women is completely different. It's like, one, you want to be functional, you probably don't want to be stoned, and you want nice, pretty things, you want good experiences. And for me, what I don't like is going into a dispensary and you have no information besides the name. Like, that's annoying because it's like, we're analytical. Tell me, you know, manage my expectations.
One of the goals that we have for our community and our business is to just leave everything we touch better than we found it. So for us, starting in fashion, transitioning into beauty, now rolling out our third vertical in cannabis and plant-based wellness, every industry we touch, every city we go to, every project that we lay our hands on, we want to be like alchemists. Like anytime I enter into a space, I want to leave it better than I found it. And I think that's important to have as like a guiding principle for what we're doing, because ultimately, we're building this agency, we're working with large-scale partners, and it is B2B, but we're representing women who look like us, women who are often considered last, who are underestimated, who just don't feel seen in our society. And so for us, in any space that we enter into, whether it's venture capital or CPG, just leaving those spaces better than we found it and educating people so that we can be top of mind as consumers and not considered last.
That's the goal. whatever you're really great at, that's what's gonna have to fuel you to get past all the hardships in that initial step into getting things, you know, started. And there are valleys and there are great jumps and leaps that you'll have, and the valleys are longer. So just understand that you'll have times where you'll make tons of progress, everything's great, but then you'll have times where nothing is happening, and that sucks. That's a part of the journey. You got to eat that. And that's why it's going to be important that you play to your strengths, because those are going to get you through these valley moments, because success isn't a straight line up. It's literally, you'll take a big jump, then you might be stuck there for like a month or two, and you got to push yourself beyond thinking like, is there something wrong with me? Or is, you know, that's just a game, it's a hustle. So part of your hustle is how you come in the door, what you're great at, focus on those things and everything else can follow.
The beginning of any journey you take is with that thing, because that's what's gonna get you through those valleys. That's what's gonna help you find the light when you're in that dark tunnel. And ultimately, the people that you surround yourself with, they will enlarge your vision or they'll
shrink it.
Kill it.
Hi, I'm Jessica Couch.
And I'm Brittany Hicks.
We are Fayetteville Road Agency, and this is Amplify Our Voices.
You can find out more about us at WOCworldwide.com.